Okay, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to this social media session. My name is Suraj and I see a few familiar faces from some of these morning sessions. How's your day been so far? Good? Lunch? Good? Everyone's going to be dozing off right about now after a heavy lunch, so I'll do my best to keep you awake. Before we get started, I just wanted to see where we're at in the room in terms of social media. Who's using social media by a show of hands for business right now? I have a very small handful of people. Who's using social media just for fun? Most people. Okay. Has anyone seen the new Facebook layout by any chance? No, as in like the new one from today. I'll show you a screen recording of it later on. It's completely different to anything you've ever seen before. And I guess only someone who works in social media like me would ever get excited about anything like that. But anyway, swiftly moving on. What I'm going to share with you today is some information about how you can use social media to syndicate your content across the internet. And there's a lot of overlap. For those of you who attended the blogging session before lunch, there's a lot of overlap in terms of blogging and social media. And they both sort of go hand in hand together. Who's blogging apart from those who I know already? Okay, few people. Who wants to be blogging? Okay, well this is going to make a lot of sense for you for those of you who are blogging. For those of you who are not blogging, just know that the other side of the coin of social media is a good foundation blog for your business or for your hobbies and passions. So today we're going to cover over the next hour as I get to know a bit more about you guys and try and have a bit of a discussion here. We're going to talk about what social media is and just give a bit of an overview of that because we're all using social media in one way or the other. We're going to talk about some different uses of social media and we're going to go into the content syndication, and that's slightly more of a technical social media presentation when I talk about the content syndication because it's just as important as the engagement part of social media. You know, I don't want to make social media about blasting content out there all the time. It should always be primarily about engaging with other people and building rapport and relationships with other people on the internet. But the content syndication is great if you want to use this from a business point of view to make more sales, to generate more leads, and to position yourself as an expert using these tools. And I think anyone, from whether you're come from a design background or any other sort of business, to really master the internet and dominate your niche online, you want to position yourself to an extent as an expert in your field. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? Okay, good. Lots of notes. There's so much more to social media than I can share with you in an hour or 50 minutes with some space for questions at the end. So I'm going to give you as much content as possible, and at the end I'm going to give you some more resources that you can use to find more information. Is that okay with you guys? If I try and cram in as much as possible, and at the end I can give you some more resources that you can download and what have you. And you're going to get these slides and the recording of this anyway. That's probably going to be recorded as well. We'll figure that out, and if we have to re-record it, we'll do that for you guys, no worries. So before I get started, and for those of you who saw this slide in the previous workshop, I apologise for that, but for those of you who don't know me, just one very quick slide, just giving you a bit of an outline or a bit of a background so you know where I'm coming from. My name is Suraj and I'm an internet marketer. I work with small businesses and individuals, helping them make more money on the internet by getting more clients through their blog or through social media. I'm a blogger myself, so that's why I teach things like blogging. I use social media to syndicate my content, which is why I'm teaching that as well. I blog about online marketing, internet marketing, social media, all that sort of stuff on my blog, which is why I was talking about my new Facebook profile just a little while ago, because that's something that's very relevant right now. Everyone's kicking a fuss about it. No one likes their new profiles. Who likes their new profile, by the show of hands, that's had in the last few weeks? No one. If you didn't like that, then you're going to hate the new one, and it's completely different. I don't want to put you off or anything, but I think I just may have. I'll show you a screenshot later on. I'm also a trainer. I train business owners and individuals at small workshops similar to this, showing them how to get things set up in terms of their blog, getting it right, their social media strategy, from individuals who run small driving instructor schools and ice cream men, right up to corporate businesses and large companies all over the world. If you want to follow me online, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+. And that's where I'm generally hanging out online during the day, talking about stuff generally. And if you wanted to follow me, it's not all about business. You'll find some random conversations on Twitter and Google+ with me as well. So why should you be using social media, I'm just going to sit down here because I need to record this at the same time. People make a lot of fuss about social media. Everyone should be using social media, otherwise you might as well not bother with the internet. I think it's not true at all. Social media isn't for everyone, but there are reasons that it can benefit every single business, and it's always up to you for you to use it in a way that would benefit you. Some of the reasons that I use social media and I advise my clients to use social media is to connect with industry experts, people who you may not have been able to connect with in your industry without the ease of getting in touch with people on social media. If you want to connect with a celebrity, and when I say celebrity, I mean an industry celebrity or an authority, you can do so really easily on Twitter. You just start having the conversation with them in public, and they reply to you, and you have a bit of banter. The amount of times I've connected with other experts in my industry all over the world just from Twitter, no personal recommendations, no LinkedIn introductions, just a simple tweet, just to reach out to someone and say, hey, I love what you're doing with your content, your site, your blog, your work is brilliant. I've read your book that you've published. I'd love to connect with you and do a webinar with my members, or for my blog, I'd love to interview you for my blog as well to get me some content. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, they always reply saying, hey Suraj, brilliant, let's do it. Let's set a date and do a webinar, or send me over some questions and I'll answer them by email, and you can turn that into a blog post and share that through your social media channels. And that gives me credibility, because just through the power of association, I've connected and done some business or done some work with these so-called celebrities in the industry. Does that make sense? Right? And there's authoritative figures like that in every single industry, whether you're in my industry, in internet marketing, or in the design sector, anything at all, health and fitness, sports, anything at all. So it's really easy to connect with experts. Obviously, to find new customers as well, because you're engaging with people, you're finding out what people's problems are using social media, and you can show them the solution to their problems in the form of your products and your services. Increasing your business exposure, we've all heard that one before. The more places you are found online, the better it's going to be for yourself and for your business. To use social media to add value to your clients. Something I mentioned in the blogging workshop this morning was a lot of people try and think of internet marketing strategies like blogging, social media, etc., to find new clients. They don't use it to primarily add value to their existing clients. So I'll use the same example I used earlier on. One of my graphic design outsourcers, a guy called Gareth who lives in Devon, the way he uses social media to add value to his clients is by tweeting and blogging about his clients. Rather than saying, hello, my name is Gareth, come to me and I'll make your logo, I'll sort your brand out, I'll design your business cards, I'll design your flyers, or whatever it might be. When he gets a new client, he blogs about them on his blog, and then he tweets about the blog post. He syndicates that content from his blog all over the web, on his Twitter account, on his Facebook page, on his Google Plus profile, on all the other profiles that he's got going on. He will syndicate that content out there. And what I mean by syndicate, that just means sharing and spreading the content on multiple platforms of social media. And that adds so much value to his clients, because they wouldn't get that using another graphic designer. They see more value in what they get. They're getting more for what they're paying. They are thinking this guy really cares for them because he's blogging about them, which is actually killing two birds with one stone, because he's then marketing himself and showing or showcasing his own work, saying, hey, I'm Gareth, look what I've done for Suraj or whatever, whoever the client is, showing the whole design process in a detailed step-by-step process, subliminally and very subconsciously selling his services as well. So he's not saying, buy my stuff, I'm great, here's the PayPal button you can pay me from. He's just showing what he's really good at. And that expertise gives him more authority, more credibility, and it gives me, the client, and I'm using myself as an example here, gives the client so much more value, because then guess what he puts in that blog post? All of my new branding and a link to my website. And guess what? Someone reading his blog may want my services. So it's adding value to me that another graphic designer, if I'd outsourced it, if I'd gone to a crowdsourcing site, I wouldn't have got that extra value, right? So adding value through social media is probably more valuable than using it purely to find new clients. And of course, it gives you massive SEO benefits. And over time, we're not going to go into SEO or search engine optimization at all really today, but just watch this space. The way Google is creating things like Google Plus, it's essentially to make search engine optimization much more personalized, and the social reach of how many tweets, how many times your content has been syndicated, how many likes you've got on your page, how many Google Plus followers you've got, how many plus ones have been clicked on your blog and your sites, that will influence your search engine rankings more and more over the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years. So the SEO landscape is changing massively, and you probably, if you know anything about SEO, you've probably heard a lot of people talk about backlinks and all the rest of it, and that's still valid, but it's changed. It's a changing landscape, and it's becoming more and more social. So stuff like this is going to be more important to syndicate your content on the social media platforms. The existing SEO is all still valid. Whatever you've heard about it, it's probably still valid. But just know that the social reach is going to play much more of an important part in SEO than it is right now. Other things social media is great for is to make announcements, new products, offers, seasonal offers, Christmas discounts, whatever it might be. It's great for quick, short snippets of an announcement. One of the most important things that every single person in this room who's trying to build a business online should be doing is building a list. What I mean by that is building a database of email subscribers that you have control of. And I don't mean RSS subscriptions or followers on Twitter or Facebook likes. Whilst all of that is important, the real asset of anyone's business online is the database, because that's where you want to go to market yourself, to position yourself as an expert. And like again I said in the morning, there's a fundamental flaw, not to undermine anything I'm saying for the next hour, there's a fundamental flaw in building a business on social media. And the flaw in that model is that we don't control any of those platforms. We don't own any of the content. As soon as we put content up there, we lose control over it. The networks can effectively shut you down for whatever reason without any warning. And I say that because I know friends in the industry who've had their YouTube channels shut down with hundreds of thousands of views. Their Facebook pages completely just shut down because someone flagged them as inappropriate, even if they weren't. You always get a busybody just trying to make life difficult, and it happens. Stuff like that happens, right? So if you've built your own database using these tools, then you're safe, because no one can take that away from you. If your website goes down, your database is still there. If your Twitter page gets shut down, you don't necessarily lose all your following, because you've got them backed up on your own platform, your own database. So using these tools is purely for it's a leveraging tool. It's not to build your business on them on their own. Does that make sense to everyone? And the amount of times I've seen people say, my YouTube channel has just been shut down. What do? I had 100 videos there and I hadn't sent them anywhere. Sent them to my blog or sent them to an opt-in form or a squeeze page to download, even if it's to download an ebook or whatever it might be. It's to capture that database. It's so important, because that becomes the asset of any business, whether you're purely an online business like myself or you're an offline business trying to get clients from the internet. So social media has become a bit of a buzzword and as a label for pretty much anything nowadays. Anything done online is categorized as social media if there's anything remotely social involved. And there's so many networks out there, hundreds and hundreds of social networks, which luckily we don't need to all know about. The main ones I like to use are Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. LinkedIn and eAcademy, I have profiles there, but I don't actively use them, and that I guess depends on your audience, your market, and where your clients are. But I'd also count blogs and forums as a bit of social media use as well, because you're still socializing, you're still sharing content, and that's what it's all about, right? And positioning yourself with experts. I would say the top three, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, can be supplemented using the smaller networks like eAcademy, LinkedIn, and some of the other slightly more niche networks. Is everyone okay? Can you hear me over this sound? Okay, because just about hear myself. There's two branches of social media that I like to break this down into. The engagement arm, which is what it really should be used for, because that's what it was invented for. It's to build relationships with people, socialize with people, connect with experts, connect with potential clients, prospective clients, as well as your existing clients, and add value to your existing clients. It's the equivalent of networking offline, just done online without any barriers, and that's what it's really for. The right-hand side of the screen for you, where I talk about syndication, that's me talking with my marketing hat on. I hate saying this word, but it's manipulating the social networks for your own gain in terms of sharing your content. Now, you want to focus more on the engagement side of things, but you don't want to ignore the syndication, which is the thing a lot of people frown upon on social media, because some people abuse the syndication part. You see a lot of people on Twitter or Facebook just blasting out salesy type stuff all day long, and no one likes it, and they completely ignore the engagement part. Social media is not an advertising platform; it's an engagement platform. It's not broadcast marketing; it's engagement marketing, if you want to call it that. So you want to use the syndication. It has its place, but you want to use it with a bit of caution. So first, I want to go through the engagement side of social media, and essentially, it's just social media means something different to everyone. But for me, I like to categorize it or define it as conversations and interactions between real people just carried out online. There's nothing different in the conversations you're having outside during lunch or when you're on the coffee break to what you should be doing on the internet. Yet so many people, when they go online, they become someone different. They become a broadcaster. They don't want to engage with anyone and they still think people will buy from them that way. And it doesn't work that way because, you could say that if you want to sell online, you need more of a relationship, more rapport to be built than someone you meet here. Because here you can get a real feel for the person, whether you like them, first impression. Online, it could be anything. It could be anyone. You can't see them. You don't really know if they look like their profile picture. So it needs more of that engagement being done by us as well as by people that we are hoping to buy from. And the operative word in my definition being real people. People forget that it's still human beings using social media. It's just through a different platform. It's like hundreds of years ago when the telephone was invented. People didn't know what to do with it. They picked this thing up and what do we talk about on the telephone? Seriously, let's phone each other and what do we say? Do we sell you something? Do we tell you a story? But now it's part of life. When you pick up the phone, how do you talk with the person on the other end of the phone? Just like you would as if you were sitting in front of them, right? To an extent, at least, depending on who you're talking to. And social media is at that point right now. People are using social media thinking, how do we use this? What do we say? How do we communicate with these people on the other side of the screen? You forget that it's the same concept as the telephone, just a different medium. Same human beings, the same interaction, same conversation you would have offline. You're just doing it online with no barriers at all. You can have this conversation with anyone. And ultimately, you want to take people through a chain of building relationships with them in terms of connecting with them first, having a balance between entertaining and educating them with your content, and then gaining credibility, and eventually they're recommending you to someone else or buying from you themselves. I like this little quote, not quote, but a little example from a book I read recently. You wouldn't walk into a party or the pub and start selling straight away. You would spend some time getting to know people there and building relationships long before you even thought maybe you can be a client of mine. In any social environment, at the coffee break right now, what would happen if somebody came up to you and stopped your conversation midway and said, "Hey, here's my business card. Come and buy from me. I can do your branding for you. I can do your website for you. I can do this for you. I can come into my workshop." You think, "Whoa, relax. This is a social environment. We're having a coffee or we're having a drink in the pub." It wouldn't go down very well. Yet people do that online. They break up conversations in a social environment, i.e. on Twitter, Facebook, and all these platforms, and they think that people will take notice of them. In fact, it repels people. And I'm sure if you imagine yourself, it's Friday night tonight at the pub later on, how would you feel if someone did that to you? Online, that's what people do, and they think that it works, and it doesn't work that way. It's a platform to engage with existing and potential clients. Again, it's all about having conversations. It's to use it to add value to your offering, like I said earlier, to provide very public customer service, customer support, to find suppliers. It's not all about finding new clients. You can use social media to add value to existing clients, as well as using it to find suppliers. I don't Google stuff. I will ask my Twitter followers for a personal recommendation for someone first, and if that fails, then I'll Google it and try and find something random. But if one of my followers who I've got some rapport with can recommend something to me, I'm so much more likely to use that service or buy from that person, because someone I know and trust and like has recommended them to me. And the same works for me. If someone asks me something, can you recommend someone to create a logo for me? I know Gareth is going to add so much more value to that person. I'm more than happy to recommend him on Twitter, even though we're just Twitter friends. There's no other relationship because he lives in Devon and I've never been to Devon. Does that make sense? So it opens up these boundaries to find suppliers and to get very public feedback, reviews, testimonials, which will give you lots of social proof as well. And of course, follow-ups. Some big companies are using Twitter in a great way to engage with people. You can see up at the top there, I was in February last year, I was going to the Lake District with some friends for one of my friends' weddings. And I was on the Virgin Pendolino train. I was on my laptop working away, as I do, and I tweeted, and I said, on the Virgin Pendolino train to the Lake District for the weekend, looking forward to my friend's wedding. And within 10 minutes, Virgin Trains replied to me and said, enjoying your journey? Just ask me a simple question, and it's just a bit of engagement. And now that seems like nothing, right? It's such a nothing type of statement. There's no value, they're not trying to sell me anything, I'm not trying to ask for anything for free. It's just engaging with me. Little old me with Virgin Trains, which you would not have had that type of engagement before. Anyway, a bit of banter came about from that tweet, and I replied saying, yep, journey is fight, train journey is a train journey, got 4 hours to kill, going to do some work, read a book. And the tweet when they replied was, okay, if this is your first time on the train, as this is your first time on a Virgin train, show this tweet to the buffet cart and we'll give you a free coffee and a muffin to help you along the way, to make your journey a bit more comfortable. Now, I don't know if I'm just fickle or really easily pleased, right? But that makes me a customer for life because it's showing engagement with someone who I'm buying from. That is a massive company. You could say I'm just a number to that company. But the fact that they're trying to engage with me using these social platforms, which I'm comfortable on, it's a quick engagement with a company that I've paid a little bit of money to use their service. And it makes you feel good. Now, I would have bought a coffee and a sandwich anyway. But the fact is that they offered it, and it just makes you feel good for using the company. And it creates loyalty, brand loyalty. So much so, I'm telling all of you guys about it today. Right? So it's creating that social... almost like a wave, like a ripple effect. They've told me, I've told over the year, since last February, hundreds and hundreds of people this little story about my free muffin on Virgin Pendolino trains, and someone somewhere might remember it, and if that influences anyone out of the hundreds of people that I've spoken in front of to use a Virgin train because they thought, well, Suraj used it and he had a good experience, let me try them as well, then that's me doing Virgin's marketing for them, thanks to social media. Does that make sense? Such a tiny, tiny gesture has got me exactly where they want me, and I'm not the only one. If you go and follow Virgin Trains, they're replying to everyone, right? So it's not just me that they're replying to, they're engaging with their audience. Another one in the middle, a My iStand, that's a little iPhone widget, rubber widget, to stick on the back of your iPhone or your iPad so it stands up on a train journey or a flight so you can watch a movie on it. And it's like £2. It's a cheap little bit of rubber. But they're very socially active. They engage with their audience, even though I'm a very low-value customer. I bought the product, and you click on tweet at the end of the experience when you've checked out, and they reply saying, they've tagged my name, enjoy your blue My iStand, let's talk about affiliate schemes for sure. Tell all your friends. So they've obviously looked at my profile, they've seen that I'm an internet marketer, I do affiliate schemes, and I work as an affiliate marketer, and they've picked up on that, and this company that I've just spent a couple of quid with have engaged with me. And much more, it just makes you feel a bit more wanted, if you want, a bit more secure to buy from this company online, and that's what it's all about. And then you've got the bottom one, which is just a random tweet, it's nothing to do with me, but Southwest Airlines is like a no-frills budget airline in the States. And I guess they've got the similar reputation to EasyJet or Ryanair. You hate them, but you sort of can't live without them because they're great for the quick, short flights, but you complain all the way through. So Southwest Airlines get a lot of bad press because they're terrible service. But this is a great example of using social media from a big company, using it to show public customer support on using social media in a very public way. So someone obviously complained on Twitter, and they've picked up the tweet, and they've replied to say, @Beaker, sorry to hear about your flight. Weather was terrible in the northeast. Hope you give us a second chance to prove that Southwest equals awesomeness. Now, what corporate company, airline would ever use awesomeness in a customer service email or in their complaints procedure? They would never do that. But what social media does, it breaks down those barriers to help them engage with people. And this would alleviate the problem. It would make this person think, okay, they're trying. It also proves to all the other followers that the company's trying to sort the problems out. They're not trying to brush it under the carpet. they're really making a go of it. And there's so many examples that I can talk about all day of big companies that I've had interactions with, complaining, getting stuff. You know, I went to the optician, I went to Tesco opticians to get my eyes tested, and the optician broke my glasses. Really not very clever, but the optician actually broke my glasses. They swung the machine around and the glasses fell off. And so I was sitting in Tesco opticians tweeting, saying, Tesco opticians broke my glasses, should have gone to Specsavers, never coming back here again. And that got hundreds and hundreds of retweets, because there was a bit of humor, if you want to call it that, in the tweet. And Tesco picked up on it, and in the store, before I'd even left the store, our problem was solved. The head office had rung and said, there's this guy complaining about you guys on Twitter, and it's spreading all over the place. Give him whatever he wants. So I said, right, I'll take 3 pairs of glasses, a couple of months worth of contact lenses, and they sort of just authorized it all, because they want to, A, shut me up, and B, show that they're doing something about it. They don't want that to carry on and flare up even more. And in a way, it worked for them, because then my next tweet would be, great result from Tesco opticians, they sorted me out, free glasses, happy days. And that then shows that to my followers that, okay, this company is making amends with me. Does that make sense? Right? And on a smaller scale, with our individual clients, we can do the same thing, whether it's to add more value or deal with irritated clients. Great for open, unmoderated communication. You can say whatever you want, like I did with the Tesco opticians. No one's going to sue you over it, because it's just a conversation. It's all opinion. The good thing about social media is there are lots of social tools which allow you to appeal to lots of different types of people. Things like YouTube, I would class as a social network. You can appeal to all those people who prefer to watch a video than read tweets, or who don't like fake people, believe it or not, they're still not on Facebook, but prefer to watch a video where they can learn something that you're sharing with them, rather than reading a blog post. I personally don't like to read long articles. I prefer to watch a 5-minute video on YouTube of the same thing. Or if I'm traveling, like I'm going to Australia in 2 weeks, I'm downloading as many podcasts from blogs that I can, because I've got a heck of a long flight to kill, and rather than take my laptop and read articles on a plane, I'm going to load them up all on my iPod and listen to the same content on the 12-hour flight and consume that content that way. And using social media, it's very easy to do that. We talked about the other bullet points there. Creating your own network and following, that's important as well. Social media mistakes. I'm not going to go through all of these because you're going to get the slides anyway, but it's the standard things, you know, overly selling, being shy, ignoring people. But one of the main points here that I think is important for small businesses to recognize, and big businesses sometimes ignore, is the over-planning or strategizing element of a social media campaign. Now, yeah, you want to plan it and make sure you're on the right networks. But when you go into a phase where you're planning for 3 months on how to use Twitter, you've gone too far. Because you would never do that in a real-life social environment, right? You would never go to a party and say, right, I'm going to walk in first and talk to everyone on the left-hand side of the room, and then, depending on what's happened, what they've said, I'm going to move to the right-hand side and start talking to those people about something different and split-test the reactions. Right? Nobody would want to talk to you in a social environment, yet people over-strategize online that way. Now, there's a place for strategy, for sure. I'm not saying go at it blindly, but over-strategizing, if you feel like you're trying to plan things to say, then you've gone too far. So you want to make sure you just do it without thinking about it too much. And other ones are pretty much standard. So some of the best practices that I like to share with people is to treat the online community the same as the offline community. Why? Because they're the same people. People you meet here today, they're the same people that you're going to follow on Twitter, or you're going to friend on Facebook, you're going to like their page, you're going to subscribe to their blogs, or their newsletter, or whatever it might be. Yeah, and I've been to networking events where I'm talking to someone, and they're a really nice person, good information, this person knows what they're talking about, I think I can relate to this person, I can refer to them or use them myself. Then they come online, and it's just sell. Suraj, buy my stuff, do this, buy this, subscribe to that, check this out. It's like, relax, just chill out. You weren't like this when we were having a coffee or when we met in a social environment. Why do people do that when they go online? Remember the pub example? Build it into your day. A lot of people say, well, how can I manage all of this all the time? Even if you allocate an hour a day to monitor your social networks, any mentions, anything that you can pick up on and engage with, is a good start. Things like Google Alerts will tell you if anyone's mentioned your name. TweetDeck will store any messages to you. Ooh, okay. And there's lots of other tools that will tell you if people are talking about your brand or your name. And remember, it's not all about business. There's a lot more to social media than just saying what you can do for other people. It's about engaging, and the weird thing about social media is that the less that you sell, the more that people will want to buy from you, because they won't see you as that pushy salesperson. And I think it's a cultural thing in Britain. We generally we love to buy, right? Everyone loves to buy, but we hate being sold to. We hate it, and any slight whiff of a sales pitch, we flee, we run for the hills. Yet we love to buy, and in fact, after the States, we in England spend the most amount of money online buying stuff. So there's no shortage of people buying services or products online. It's just the way it's pitched to them, or not pitched to them, if it were. So that's a little bit about the engagement. Obviously, there's a ton of other stuff I can go into, but in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to the syndication element of social media. And this is where you want to share and send your content essentially to lots of different places online. Offline, everyone's telling us to reduce our footprint, our carbon footprint, fly less, drive less, take your bike out more, walk to places. We want to shrink our footprint. Online is the absolute exact opposite. We want to increase our footprint as big as we possibly can, because there's no carbon emissions that you're giving off by syndicating your content electronically. And it actually helps you in your SEO, in your authority. The more places you're seen online, the better it's going to be for your business. So why would you want to even syndicate? It helps with making your content go viral. When I say viral, basically means lots of people sharing your content. Social media and blogs using things like WordPress make it very, very easy for others who like your content to share the content. You want to make life easy for others to help your content go viral. Like I was saying earlier in the other workshop, and those of you who were there will remember this, people are lazy. People will not copy and paste your URL, open a Twitter page or the Facebook page, paste it into their status, type a little message, and then share it. There are some people, sure, they'll do that, but the vast majority of people would rather just click a button. Literally one click, because they're usually logged into Twitter anyway, they're logged into Facebook anyway. If it's the sake of one click or 4 or 5 clicks, people would generally just take the easy option and share that with their network. And that's how things go viral, when you make it easy for others to share your content. Having your content syndicated gives you a much wider reach to places that you would not have been able to reach. It's not just enough to syndicate to Twitter and Facebook, because believe it or not, there are people who don't care for Facebook and Twitter, who are not on those networks, so they're never going to see your content. There are some people on lots of other networks who focus there only because they've got friends there or they've built up a following there. Syndicate because it gives you more SEO benefits in a very simplistic way. The more links you've got back to your website from good places, the better your SEO is going to be, and your content syndication will do that for you. Content syndication sounds really complicated and time intensive, but in reality, most of it is automated using plugins or tools. Things like if you're blogging, you can install plugins that will automatically tweet your content out, put it to your Facebook page, send it to your LinkedIn account, send it to wherever. Same with your YouTube. When you upload a YouTube video, it will syndicate it across lots and lots of different platforms automatically, so you don't have to do anything. The cogs are working behind the scenes, and that's doing all the work for you, essentially. Increasing your web footprint, and it builds authority. Would you trust someone with a really important decision that you're going to buy from them if they only had one little presence online, or if you saw them in multiple places? Would that build your confidence and give you a bit more trust in them? Of course it would. And that's what I mean by building your authority by syndicating your content. And ultimately, you want this sort of chain to be created. So from your blog, you want the content to go to your Twitter page, your Facebook page, to LinkedIn, to things like eCademy. And when I say eCademy, that includes all the other hundreds of social networks out there that you don't need to do manually. It's at a push of a button when you publish your blog, to forums, and also to YouTube, or from YouTube as well. Where should you syndicate your content? Things like YouTube, of course, is not the only video distribution site. There's a website called tubemogul.com where you upload your video to TubeMogul just as you would to YouTube, but TubeMogul will syndicate your video to 15 video sharing sites. And there's more. Can you see the value in having your video and your links on lots of other sites? Because again, believe it or not, there are people who prefer not to watch YouTube. There are people who prefer to watch Vimeo videos or Vidler or Dailymotion, which are smaller but just as effective video sharing platforms. So why would you want to alienate them if it doesn't cost you anything more to reach that audience as well? It's the same with Twitter and Facebook. They're the mainstream, over 1 billion people between them, but there's still a lot more people using other networks where they want to get their information from. People want to use Twitter. Some people want to use it just to muck around, just to follow celebrities. They're not interested in using it to learn how to design a logo or how to find suppliers or how to use it for business. So they don't follow anyone in that sense. For that information, they would rather subscribe to a podcast. If you've got your content on a podcast as well, you're not alienating them and you're capturing that audience as well. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? All the major social networks as well as the smaller ones. RSS syndication, everyone's seen the little orange RSS symbol. What that basically does is it takes a feed of your website, of your content, or of your Twitter updates, your Facebook page, and it aggregates it. And you can plug your RSS feed into pretty much anything nowadays, into other blogs. Other people can subscribe to your RSS feeds so they get the updates via email. And one really cool thing I've noticed is that as my blog started getting more and more authority, others started to take my RSS feed of the content on my blog and plug it into their blog. Now what that does is every time I update my blog, it updates their blog, but guess what with? My content, and with a link to where? To me. So it gives me a bit of an SEO boost. It makes that blog owner look as if his site is very popular, very active in terms of content, lots of new content, but actually it's just my content being syndicated to his blog via a simple RSS feed. And that gives me a lot more benefit, because if someone clicks on that, one of his followers clicks on that, guess where they go? To me. So the ultimate value comes back to me rather than someone who subscribes via RSS. All the smaller Web 2.0 properties, off the top of my head, I would say you want to put your content on sites like Squidoo. Has anyone heard of Squidoo? No, it's Squidoo. It's essentially a micro blog, a bit like Twitter, but you get a page instead of a tweet. You get a whole page, dump your content on there via an RSS feed, so it pulls it automatically. You can monetize that with affiliate widgets to sell stuff as well. It gives you an SEO boost because sites like Squidoo, Hub Pages, they all have very high rankings on Google and they're very authoritative. So any links from these high authority pages give you a little bit of Google love, if it were. That will impact your SEO over a long period of time. And there's a tool called Ping FM or Ping.fm, which is essentially a platform like Twitter, but when you type a status update into there, it will send it out to 20 or 30 other sites as well. So you're syndicating your content everywhere, and you can choose which ones you want it to be sent to, which ones you don't want it to be sent to, because sometimes you don't want what you're tweeting to be sent to your Facebook page. You don't want what you're tweeting to be sent to your LinkedIn profile. So you can literally untick the boxes as you don't want them, as you choose, and that's really handy because sometimes you do have an article that you want to share with all of your followers, regardless of whether they're Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, and that way you can syndicate and share your content with everyone. This is what your online business or your online marketing should essentially look like, and this is just a really simplistic form of a mind map. And remind me in a second, at the end I'll show you, after I show you the new Facebook profile so you can have a look at what to expect, the mind map for a purely social business. And it looks a little bit more complicated than that, but this is a simplified version. Where you've got your blog or your hub site in the center of this mind map, and you're sharing content from that site, and you're syndicating it to things like article directories, RSS feeds, to Facebook and all the social media sites. You're podcasting your content, videoing, social bookmarking, and what you're doing here is appealing to people who may not actually want to read your blog because they don't like the look of it, they don't like reading articles, and it's very easy to turn your content into, or to recycle your content and like an article into video. What I do sometimes is I'm better at like narrating or recording what I want to say rather than typing a whole article. So I'll record myself on a voice recorder or my iPhone or something, just saying the article. I'll send it off to someone to get it transcribed. Suddenly, I've got an article out of that to whack on my blog. The recording, if it's decent quality, I can use that as a podcast. And then what I can do is take the audio recording, put the text onto some slides on a keynote presentation or a PowerPoint or whatever it might be, record my screen, and I've got a video for YouTube. So I've got the same content in lots of different places. So I'm not alienating anyone who wants the content but doesn't want to consume it in any one particular way. And then you can syndicate that one layer out again. Tools like networks, blogs will syndicate your content straight to your Facebook page and multiple Facebook pages. I don't syndicate content to my personal profile because my personal profile, I only send it to my Facebook page for my business. But it's very simple. You choose the blog, it's all done via RSS feeds. It's a free tool inside Facebook, and you choose the pages that you want it to be syndicated to, and every time you blog, as if by magic, your content will appear in all these places, because some people who are on my Internet Marketing Highway page are not on my London Internet Marketing Meetup page, and some people who are there are not on my Business Startup Community page. And they don't want to join all of my pages, they only want to join something that's relevant for them. So if my content is relevant for everyone, I can syndicate it to all different places, and that's just on Facebook. That's going to help me because I'm not going to miss anyone out, essentially. This is a screenshot of Ping FM. You can see some of these you'll probably never even have heard of, but they're very powerful Web 2.0 sites that you can choose whichever ones you want. Click on Add Network, and that will syndicate any tweet, any message, any content that you share to all of them, all of these sites. It's worth checking those sites out. Another tool that I like to use is TweetDeck. It's essentially a Twitter tool. The alternative to TweetDeck is something called Hootsuite. I prefer TweetDeck, where you can have multiple Twitter accounts, your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account, all, and if you still use MySpace, even your MySpace account, in columns. It's really nice and tidy to look at and monitor what's going on. You can set columns up to alert you if anyone's mentioning your name or your website or any word or key phrase that you want. And it saves me having to have 5 or 6 different browser tabs open. I'm a little bit OCD like that. I like to have a very, very clean browser, so I don't want 7 browser tabs open. I'd like to have one software with everything I need to see there. And the great thing about it is it's free as well. And Twitter have just bought TweetDeck. I think they paid $40 million for it, so they're going to improve it, and it's going to be a lot more intuitive to use for Twitter. And that's what I primarily use it for. But you can syndicate content from here straight to Facebook and LinkedIn as well. And for those of you using WordPress on blog, for those of you who are blogging, who's using WordPress? I don't know, guys, because most of you. For those of you who are not blogging and those of you who missed my early presentation, I would say if you are wanting to get into blogging, go with WordPress all day long, and specifically WordPress.org, which is a self-hosted version rather than the WordPress.com version. Quick nutshell as to why. The .org version will give you a lot more flexibility, a lot more control, a lot more customization options, and again, it's about security. No one can take your WordPress.org blog or site down. WordPress.com is hosted with WordPress, so if anything happens to WordPress's platform, everything comes down. Whereas this way, it's hosted on your own server, so you need your own hosting, which is like $4 or $5 per month. It's very cheap. To help you syndicate your blog content, there are some great WordPress plugins, some free and some paid for. So these are the 3 that I really recommend as a bare basics if you're using WordPress already. If you're not, then make a note of these, so when you do start using WordPress, which I hope you do, then these are ones to get hold of. The first is called Digi Article Blaster, and what that will do, it will take your article or your post from your blog, it will spin it, and what that means, it will change the words around to make it a unique article. It is pointless syndicating the same content hundreds and hundreds of times. If you've got slightly different content, it gives you a bit more of an SEO value. It gives you more value for SEO. It gives you more authority. It tells the search engines that you're a little bit more credible because you've got lots of unique content, and that's ultimately what the Google callers love: unique content. It's not be all and end all. There's a big duplicate content myth out there. It's not as scary as some people make it out. But Digi Article Blaster will spin your articles and automatically submit them to about 200 or more article directories in the right category. So if you're blogging about photography, or in my case, social media or online marketing, when it distributes these contents to this content to the directories, it won't put them in the wrong category, because then that could penalize me again if I'm taking content and putting it in the wrong place. So that's a great one, and that's a paid plugin. It's about $50 or something, so it's relatively cheap as well. The second one is called WP Syndicator. It's made by the same people as Digi Article Blaster, and what that will do is it will blast your content, the title and a link to your content, to about 15 or 20 Web 2.0 properties. Very similar to Ping FM, but this is automated. So every time you hit publish a new post, it will just scatter your content to 15 or 20 other sites. Coupled with Digi Article Blaster, suddenly you're syndicating your content in hundreds of different places, building authority, building backlinks, helping your SEO a little bit. And if you're outsourcing your SEO people won't mind doing this because it's only going to help them essentially anyway. So there's lots of free tools available as well, like WordTweet. A WordTweet is just to syndicate to Twitter. It's a WordPress plugin. When you hit publish, it will send out the title and the link directly to the post, straight back to your Twitter feed. And you can have multiple Twitter accounts set up there as well. As we come to the end, I just want to touch on videos as well. I think videos are really important, and for those of you in the morning, you'll have seen this already. There are a few types of videos that you can use to create your content with. So I've said take your article and turn it into a video. There's lots of different types of videos you can create from your content to connect with people. And what the research has proven essentially is that people have stopped Googling things. A lot of people have stopped Googling things. They've started to YouTube things because they can see the person that they're dealing with. If they're wanting to buy something, they can really connect with someone. They can see their face. They can see what they look like. They can hear what they sound like. And that appeals to some people. Some people really need that level of rapport and connection before they decide to buy from someone. So you can create talking head videos, which is essentially you talking about your product, or not in an advertising way, but informing people about, giving them tips, reviews, and all that sort of stuff. Screen videos, which I prefer to do if you're in the software business. You're creating screen capture videos, showing people how to use your software, your product, or other people's product, if you're going to go down the affiliate marketing route to monetize your presence that way. Third-party videos are testimonials, interviews with other people to build your credibility, to build authority with other experts in your field. And just through the power of association, you'll get people thinking, wow, well, if he's being interviewed by this person who's a real authority in the business, he must be pretty good as well. Think of the same concept as Piers Morgan. I don't know what you think of Piers Morgan. I don't particularly like the guy. But why is he so famous and why is he such a celebrity? He has no product. He has nothing. Right? I'm not going into a rant against Piers Morgan here, but why is he famous? Because he interviews other famous people. And just by the power of association, he's given massive amounts of credibility. Same with all due respect, Oprah Winfrey. Apart from everything that she's achieved, and all the products and all the stuff that she does, she became famous by associating herself, getting famous people on her couch. And that's what gave her the credibility. So the interview process is the same interview type of video. You get hold of famous people in your industry or industry leaders, interview them, get on camera with them, and some of their credibility will rub off onto you for sure. YouTube disappeared. So that's an example of a talking head video. I've sort of gone a bit extra with mine with the green screen and logo and all the rest of it. But you don't have to. You can be with a nice clean background talking about your products. As long as it's a nice clean video, that will do. This is an example of a screen video of mine. You can see it's like 5.5 minutes long. But that one video is an affiliate video of mine. So I'm showing people how to use this product. I'm demonstrating it on YouTube. People are searching for that on YouTube before they buy, because they just want to know if they'll be able to use it. They say, yep, I can use that. They click on the link and I make a commission if they buy it. That's the affiliate model. Not everyone has to go down that route. You can use that for your own products as well. Third-party videos are testimonials, endorsements from your clients. Is an interview video. This is a very casual one. This was when I was in Dubai last year, literally on the beach. You can see we've got drinks there, and we're just very casual. But we're talking about internet marketing in Dubai and the UK, and that video will have had a few hundred hits, building credibility with our respective clients, and it gives us a bit of content for the sake of content on our blog. Then you've got a demonstration video. If you're an affiliate, to demonstrate your affiliate products, or if you've got a physical product or a design process that you want to take people through, showing them, demonstrating the process will give people more comfort to buy from you because they'll know what they're going to get. This is the slide I was talking about, Tube Mogul. The most important part of using YouTube, apart from no matter what type of video you create, the most important part of YouTube is having the link to your website at the very start of the description. And the reason you want to have it there is so that it's easy for people to click on and find. I don't know if anyone can imagine their heads now, but next time you go to YouTube, you'll notice this. Underneath the video, there's a short description and a little button that says Show More, and it will expand. Like a little jQuery thing, will expand the description box. Has anyone ever clicked on that Show More box? Because I know I haven't, right? And what if you put your link, the all-important link, the call to action in your video, in your description, underneath or below the fold? No one's ever going to see it. So if it's at the very start, it's guaranteed to be seen, and it's convenient for people to click on it. Because remember, people are lazy online. They won't go looking for links. You've got to, almost to an extent, throw it in their face. And that's why you want to have it at the very, very beginning of the description, which is a bit of text underneath the video. You can optimize your video using tags and descriptions as well, because YouTube videos are being shown on Google results. People are YouTubing things more than, people are YouTubing things that they used to Google because they want to learn how to do something and be shown how to do something. I don't know about anyone here, and if anyone can relate, but the way I learn is not to read instructions. I want to be shown how to do something, whether it's something simple like hooking up your Mac to a projector, or what adapter you'll need, or how to make the aircon machine work. I don't want to read 20 instructions, 20 bullet points. I want a 5-minute video of someone somewhere showing me, hello, my name is Dave, or whatever. I'm going to show you how to set up your new podcasting microphone. Now, if Dave has gone to the trouble to do that, what he should have done is have a little affiliate link at the bottom of that video to say, if you want to buy this microphone, click on the link and you can buy that. And that's exactly what I did. When I bought my podcasting kit, I looked for reviews on YouTube, and people were showing whether a certain mic was easy to set up or hard to set up. And based on those reviews of real people, because the company selling this thing is obviously going to be very biased. They're going to say it's brilliant. I want to see reviews for people who have spent their money on it, are using it, and are going to tell me whether to waste my money, or whether I'm going to waste my money on it, or whether it's going to be a good investment. So YouTube optimization of your videos is very simple. It's not as complicated as traditional SEO. All you've got to do is have a good title, show it, saying what the video is about, use the tags section in your YouTube video, which is essentially your keywords, and the description with the link in there, a sentence or two about your about what the video is, and that will very quickly get your videos ranking highly on YouTube, and then also on Google as well. We've got a few minutes left, and I want to show you a couple of things. I'll give you some links to get some more resources and what have you. Does anyone have any questions about syndication? I think I've talked about, because I appreciate I've just flown through everything without really breathing. So if anyone has any questions, now is a good time to ask them. If not, then we can start wrapping it up. Anyone got any questions that they wanted to ask about using any specific tools or blogging or SEO or anything that I've talked about at all? No? Yeah. Pretty simple. You log into your WordPress.com account. The question, if anyone didn't hear, was how do you change a WordPress.com account into a .org account? It's literally click a button inside the .com version, you connect it up, and it says transfer your current blog to your .org or even to a different platform, and it's relatively simple. And if you Google that or YouTube that, I'm not even guessing, because I know, because we've created videos like that showing people how to transfer from .com to .org, how to set up WordPress, how to set up hosting, and that's how I learned, so that's how I like to teach. You use the .com as a satellite blog around your hub, but not as your hub. Yeah. And as we close up here in the next few minutes, guys, I just want to share with you, if you want some more information about general traffic generation, you can download my book, and the link is at the bottom there. I also encourage you to get in touch with Academy class to find out more about the blogging workshop. The full blogging workshop talks about using the .org version of WordPress, combining it with social media. It's a 2-day workshop where we just talk about nothing but blogging and social media. And that's very helpful if you're either getting started, or if you've already started and you're not quite getting the results that you wanted from blogging or social media, and you want to learn how to maximize all of that information as well. And if you want to get even more information, then you can join a forum, which is my forum. It's a support forum for marketers and business people and entrepreneurs who want to learn, got questions about internet marketing related activities at rapidleverage.net. And that's a screenshot of the forum, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. You can see all the topics: podcasting, list building, keyword research, SEO, all the rest of it.